All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chamber Chat here on WRMN AM 1410, the 9 o'clock hour. You are tuned in, of course, to the Voice of the Valley and the Talk of the Town. Thank you, Carol Gieske of the Elgin Area Chamber, for joining us once again today.
Hey, Matt, thanks for having me in today. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
So you are ready for a busy week and a hot week here, huh?
Oh, yes.
All right. But the air conditioning is nice and comfortable, and the shades are pulled, so
Yes.
the sun isn't too obtrusive to you.
No, thankfully not. And
But-
I'm trying to wear lightweight clothes.
Lightweight.
So, yeah.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
Yep, materials. So.
Well, we really appreciate your assistance today, helping us to produce this program. Thanks to WRMN, longtime friends of our Chamber of Commerce, and we've had this program for many years. The opportunity just to introduce some folks in the community out to your listeners, talking about what's happening. So today, I'm just really pleased to welcome back, of course, my colleague Tony Lucenko with the Elgin Development Gourp. Tony's joining us, and then it's been a while, but Michelle Esquivel with Well Child Center is here. Michelle, thanks for coming back. It's
Thank
been
you
a
for
number
having
of
me.
years, right?
Yes, the last time I was here was to in anticipation of Well Child Center's 50th anniversary.
My gosh.
So that was about 2.5 years ago.
Oh, wow. Time passes very quickly with what we're doing. So we're just thrilled to have you here and talking a little bit about your business and what's happening and the implications of the wonderful services you're providing in our community through Well Child. And then we'll talk a little bit about business too. And Tony's got some updates that we can talk about with our organization and with the economy in Elgin, what we're seeing, what we're hearing from our friends out in the business world. So it's always good to be able to talk about the chamber and what's happening. We'll talk about some of our events coming up and just appreciative of the opportunity to share. And of course, if anyone has questions, you're always welcome to call us at our Elgin Area Chamber office at 847-741-5660. Of course, you can always go to our website, elginchamber.com, and you'll find that there's a lot of information there, as well as our economic development website, which is elgindevelopment.com. Thanks to our colleague Terry Gajewski, who's at our office right now, and her expertise in developing those two websites for us. We get a lot of traffic, about 70,000 people coming into our Elgin Area Chamber website. That's not hits, but that's actual people coming into our website every year. So please remember that if you're looking for something locally, businesses locally, come to elginchamber.com. And if you can find a business, then you'll be able to look to see the different businesses by category and how they might be able to help you in your home and your own business. So, Michelle, Well Child Center, you're doing a lot in this community, in this area, in reaching out and making sure that we have a healthy community. And thank you for that. Thank you for changing careers, right? I mean, that was really special. Can you talk a little bit about your background?
Sure. So I've been at Well Child Center now. This week actually is my 4-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
And I've really been working hard over the past 4 years to transform the organization. My background is in public health and public policy administration primarily. And I spent about 30 years at the American Academy of Pediatrics overseeing the portfolio of work related to kids with special needs. And then I was in the governor's office for a while and in the Illinois Department of Human Services directing the home visiting parent support programs in the state of Illinois for a few years.
And how did you start with the affinity towards public health and looking at this as a career choice?
It just was sort of inherent and innate in me. I come from a family of public servants and individuals who like to give back. And when I finished undergraduate school and started my full-time job at the Academy of Pediatrics, I originally thought I was going to go for a master's in business administration, but then I was exposed during a mission to some amazing women from across the country who had a public health background. And that's what really interested me in public health, and I decided to pursue that as a profession.
Well,
and have never regretted
Oh,
it.
that's great. I mean, and it's so nice to have someone coming from that profession into the not-for-profit world and helping make impact here locally. So you've been doing this for a little bit. You made the transition to not-for-profits or back into not-for-profits from state government. How has that transition been for you?
It's been going really well. To me, the best thing about every day of my work life is that I feel like both myself and my team are helping families and are impacting someone's lives. You can't see that at the state level because you're not really in the community. You definitely don't see it at the national level. But I do really feel like we touch families' lives. And it makes going to work easy every day. And it makes for a very, very satisfying professional career.
That's great. So Well Child's been around, as you said, celebrating 50th anniversary a number of years ago and has had a pretty significant impact on the health of our community. Can you talk a little bit about the history?
Sure. So in the early days, Well Child Center is not what it is today. So I think just in the interest of time, I'll focus on what we do now. So our mission and at the core of what we do is building healthy families and helping families thrive. We focus on all families, but we're most interested in helping families who are living in vulnerable situations. And that could mean anything. That could mean economically, socially, physically, or all of the above. And the core areas of our mission are on nutrition and oral or dental health. So those are the two primary areas that we focus all of our programming on. For well over 30 years now, Well Child Center has been the home for the Northern Kane County WIC program. WIC is the Women, Infants, and Children Supplemental Nutrition Program. So that means nutrition education, counseling, and benefits. We also have a breastfeeding peer counselor program that is part of our WIC program. We have over 6,000 clients that we serve throughout Northern Kane County, which is our catchment area for WIC on an annual basis.
It is annually.
Yes, and that means women who are pregnant or in the postpartum period, women who are breastfeeding, and children up to the age of 5. And one of the things that I like to emphasize when I have amazing opportunities like this morning is that we see a significant drop-off in our child WIC population at the 1 year or 1.5 year birthday. And that's because children often transition off of infant formula. And so many families rely on the WIC program benefits for that infant formula. And they don't realize oftentimes that their children really are eligible for WIC benefits up to the age of 5. And that's a very generous food benefit allotment, including access to fresh fruit and vegetables for their children. And then again, also for women who are pregnant in the postpartum period or breastfeeding.
And Michelle, that program's been around for quite a while. Right?
Yes, WIC is a program that's funded by the United States Department of Agriculture. It's been around since the Depression and was developed at that time, again, primarily to support women and children who are living in poverty, but those aren't the only eligibility criteria for WIC. So we really do encourage people to call us or to look at our website to start to learn about what the eligibility criteria are. Even the income guidelines change every July, so that's modified based on family income and those types of things. So call us, check us out on our website, which is wellchildcenter.org. Don't ever hesitate to do that because we want as many children and families to be enrolled in WIC as possible. For that, again, we service all of Northern Kane County. So we have 3 WIC clinics in Elgin, and then we have 1 in Carpentersville. But our catchment area goes all the way to the middle of the Fox River Valley, so all the way to St. Charles, South Elgin. So anyone living in those communities would most likely come to one of our 4 WIC clinics for their services and for their benefits.
So Michelle, as you said, this has been a government program in place for a long period of time. What are you anticipating the future to be? Contracts with the federal government, the state governments are up at this point in time, and a lot of the not-for-profits, Tony, we hear are really trying to figure out where they're going with some of the potential funding. Have you heard any news on?
So 2 of the federal programs that will really impact us are Medicaid and SNAP. So SNAP is being eliminated in many ways or significantly reduced in the relative near future. and Medicaid is getting more restrictive. And so both of those programs, SNAP and Medicaid, provide adjunct eligibility for WIC. So that means if someone is receiving Medicaid benefits or if someone is receiving SNAP benefits, we have much less burden within our program to determine their eligibility. So the process goes more quickly. Access to food benefits happens more quickly, especially for families in need with inflation and all of the other things going on in our community and our society lately. So those are two things that will really impact us, and we're waiting to see, based on when they'll be fully implemented, the true impact. The other thing is, as SNAP benefits are reduced, oftentimes families rely primarily on SNAP for food benefits. When those are taken away, more families are going to be coming to us for WIC benefits. We don't have the capacity right now, and our budget has not been increased. So we'll be very interested to see how the program is rolled out, both at the USDA federal level, but in Illinois through the Illinois Department of Human Services.
Sure. And Tony, we're hearing that from lots of businesses and nonprofits, aren't we?
There's a lot of uncertainty out there. One day you hear one thing, and the next day it's something different. So hopefully things will stabilize in the next few months, and everybody will get the funding that they need in order to carry out very important programs like the one that you're doing.
So Michelle, let's talk about your team a little bit, because you have a pretty significant team of professionals who are delivering these services that are critical to families. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So on the WIC side, we have primarily registered dietitians or individuals who have a master's of science in nutrition who serve as our counselors or our nutritionists within our WIC program. We have a lead at all of our 4 sites, and that person is responsible for some of the administrative and operational duties, but also for client counseling and for benefits, for issuing benefits and things like that. And then on the intake side, so when someone's calling us or coming to us to enroll in the program, we have an amazing team of mostly individuals from the community who are at that front desk and answering the telephone. They are required to be bilingual in English and Spanish. And so that's really helpful for a big part of our participant population within WIC. And again, we have the whole clinical team is at every site for our WIC program. We've been focusing a lot in the last year or two on providing good customer service to anyone who comes to Well Child Center for anything, not just for our WIC program, but also for our dental clinic. And Well Child Center is also the home for about 13 other nonprofits in the community who lease space from us at our building on Wing Street and Route 31. So again, we're often known as a one-stop shop in the community for families and individuals who might need additional support and services.
That's great. Why don't you tell people, if you're in the community, you understand what that intersection is, but tell them where your building is?
Of course.
Here.
So we are located just across the river, so just due west of Gilborden Public Library at Wing Street and Route 31. Again, we own the building that we operate in there, and we lease space for our other WIC clinics throughout the community. But in our building, we have the enriching partnerships for early learning. So Apple is one of the tenants in our building. We have VNA Healthcare, which has been a longtime tenant, providing medical care, primarily pediatric, to families in the community. We have Consumer Credit Counseling Service. We have Kids Above All, which is a home visiting parent support program, and the Training Institute, just to name a few. We also have an optician in our building, an optical office called Kish, and they are one of the only opticians in the area that accepts Medicare and Medicaid. So again, it's not uncommon for people to come to our building and have their WIC appointment, their dental appointment for their children, and maybe they'll shop in our food pantry or go to get their eyeglasses adjusted or to pick up their eyeglasses, those types of things. It makes it easy for families who don't have access to transportation or who might need the convenience of going to one place for support and services.
And you are on the bus lines as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that does make a difference when people are trying to reach out and don't have their own cars to be able to come to you. That's terrific. So you're a not-for-profit organization, a 501c3 in the community. You're managed by a board of directors. Can you talk a little bit about their responsibility?
Sure. Well, the primary responsibility of our board of directors is their fiduciary responsibility. So they oversee all aspects of the finances of the organization. And we have an incredibly diverse and robust board of directors that has representation from the community. We have a motto within Well Child Center of the nothing about us without us. And so we want to make sure that at every given point in time, we do have community representation. We also have business representation on our board of directors. And because of the services and the type of business that we run, we have clinical expertise on our board. So we have one physician assistant. We have the director of nursing or the birthing center from Advocate Sherman Hospital. And then we also have a dentist who is the chairperson or the president of our board currently. And they're on top of, again, all of the finances of the organization. But we have two members who help us all with our property management and building related issues. And then again, the clinical expertise that some of our members bring to the work that we do is absolutely amazing.
It's really wonderful that you've been able to grid out what you need and get those kinds of volunteers. We find the same thing. We want to make sure that organizations, including our own, are representative of what our community is. So our business community, from that one person shop to the superintendent of schools being the largest employer in town, are represented on our board of directors and bring such interesting perspectives as well, right? The conversations are always good. Tony, we have great conversations with our board of directors. You're working with them right now on a strategic plan for economic development.
Yeah, we're in the process of creating a strategic plan for economic development for the entire community, primarily focused on what the needs of the business community is. We typically write economic development strategic plans based on community development issues, but this one's a little bit different. And we're heavily involved with the business community, presidents of local companies, both small and large, to kind of get a perspective of how they see the future coming together.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It's really been an interesting process going through this last year, working with a consulting firm that has done some work, a lot of work with other economic development organizations.
Yeah, we're working with a firm called RW Ventures. RW Ventures is a Chicago-based consulting firm that has written plans for World Business Chicago. They were originally involved with an organization called the Chicago Regional Growth Initiative, which was an attempt to try to bring together all of the counties in the Chicago metro area to talk about working together and planning together when it comes to economic development and not competing against each other. They also just recently completed King County's economic development strategic plan. King County is the only county in the metro area that doesn't have an economic development department, and they're in the process of trying to put one together in the next year. And so we thought it was natural for us to hire RW Venture to take a pinpoint look at Elgin itself and then create a plan that mirrors the kind of businesses which are somewhat different than you'd find in other places. But manufacturing is obviously the bread and butter for Elgin and creates a lot of other spillover jobs. When people are employed in good paying jobs in manufacturing, they can afford houses, they can afford cars, they can afford everything else. So anyway, RW Ventures is a good firm to work with. They've been working with the Chamber Board, a lot of businesses, interviewing businesses in the community, government officials, in hopes of creating a plan that's more business focused on growth and trying to provide those tax dollars to all the taxing jurisdictions in the community.
Well, we see it as a really important and exciting component that we haven't had within our organization. Obviously, we have a contract with the city of Elgin for economic development services, and all of those ultimately impact, you, Michelle, and what you're doing through your not-for-profit organization. Such great synergy between our business communities and our not-for-profits that we feel really fortunate to continue to work on that. One of the things that we do to make sure that we can look at future leadership, making available, for instance, Michelle, positions on your board of directors is our Elgin Area Leadership Academy. And you went through that. I had just remembered that you're a graduate of the academy. We're recruiting right now, and we'll, at our next radio broadcast, have more information with those coordinators of the Leadership Academy, which is a leadership development program in the city of Elgin, and has been beneficial for you, I assume.
Absolutely. Probably the most beneficial part of it was the relationships that I cultivated with the other individuals that were part of my cohort in the Leadership Academy, many of whom I still stay connected with or intersect with either personally or professionally. It was an amazing experience. I encourage people to apply and be part of it.
Well, that's great. We do. We appreciate that. We've had over 600 folks who have gone through that program, representing all different facets of our community, those who are already excelling in leadership roles in the community, and those who are trying to break through, newer perhaps to the community or in different positions. And we're just very excited about offering this program once again, thanks to our volunteers who run that program: Dan Fox, retired teacher from Schaumburg School District; Ruth Munson, retired state representative and entrepreneur; and Edgar with Montez with Alignment Collaborative for Education is joining us this year to help with that program. So anyone interested, please give us a call at our Elgin Area Chamber office at 847-741-5660. We'll talk about what that means and how you get involved. So Michelle, as we're talking about board of directors, of course, accountability is really important back to not only our own board of directors, Tony and Michelle, but the state government. And when you're getting grants of all sorts, can you talk a little bit about accountability? Because I'm not sure that folks understand the what you have to do to make sure the funding sources understand that you've been successful in offering that grant.
Well, it's incredibly rigorous, as you might know, and every grant is different. So federal grants have certain requirements, state grants have certain requirements. Each community foundation or small family foundation has different requirements. And I think from my perspective, I've always learned from early on in my career to be a good steward of funding from grant sources. I never, ever, ever take it for granted. I also take a very holistic approach to grant development and implementation. So I always think about evaluation and assessment at the outset of any grant period. So with our WIC grant, for example, there is a high level of accountability based on structured criteria that the United States Department of Agriculture makes us accountable for and that we have to comply with, and specific compliance standards from the state as well. However, other grants, it's a little bit different. So with Well Child Center, we develop metrics and we track data and information with everything that we do so that we can report out on those metrics and ensure that our funders know that we're being a good steward of their resources. In fact, the resources are getting more and more scarce, as you and Tony have both mentioned. So that level of accountability and that pressure in some ways is a little bit higher now than it ever has been. And so I only anticipate that we're going to have to do that even more. But I do think that there is a misconception that, money is just given to you and it's put in your bank account and you're using that for whatever you might want to be using it for to run your business and operations, but it's not that way at all.
Yeah, it really is important. And Tony, we saw that with the grants that we got for small businesses during COVID, the many tens of thousands of dollars that we sent out to our...
Yeah, we actually had to do a weekly reporting of all of our activity. And, the Chamber of Commerce actually does an audit that kind of covers everything that it does. And so our accountability in our profession, not-for-profit organizations, is very important. We also try to show metrics because they want to see what the return on their investment is.
Yeah, and rightly so. And all of our nonprofits adhere to those same standards of submitting that information. We're going to take a break and come back and talk more about Well Child Clinic and talk about, Well Child Center and Elgin Development Group.
Highland Avenue train crossing in Elgin, aiming for the potential designation of a quiet zone. The Elgin City Council recently approved an agreement with the Illinois Commerce Commission and CPKC Railroad to fund $360,000 in improvements, a cost fully covered by the railroad and state grants. A Villa Park man has been sentenced to over 7.5 years in federal prison for admitting to a string of bank robberies across the Chicago suburbs. Charles Lawler pleading guilty to robbing the BMO Harris branch in Naperville in September of 2021, where he handed a teller a threatening note and left with cash in a white garbage bag. The Oswego Land Park District's Executive Director Thomas K. Betzinger has been placed on paid administrative leave after being arrested and charged with multiple felonies. According to Yorkville police, Betzinger allegedly crashed into several vehicles and attempted to hit a pedestrian with his car on Sunday night. Thankfully, the pedestrian was unharmed.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Credan.
Lowe's knows big savings make a big difference, especially when you're shopping for appliances. Hurry in to get up to 30% off select major appliances. Plus, My Lowe's Rewards members get free delivery, free haul away, free installation and parts on purchases of $2,500 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/30. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Price, delivery time, and vehicle availability may vary based on order size and location. Exclusions apply. See Lowes.com/delivery for more details.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway, because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles, Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now.
800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. That's 800-760-1845.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. A heat advisory is in effect from Wednesday morning through Thursday evening. Today, mostly sunny with a high near 88. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 71. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high near 94. It feels like 109. Currently, it is 76 and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 13th. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits towards a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chevy.
Welcome back to Chamber Chat here on WRMN AM 1410 with our very own Carol Gieske. We also have Michelle and Tony with us as well today, too. Thanks so much for joining us all.
So, Matt, have you got a busy week this week, or you've got some great shows coming up?
Oh, my goodness, yes. I've got some good interviews for tomorrow for the Out to Lunch show. It's always fun to have those interviews. Helps to keep the time go by and also get the word out about things happening in the community. So
that's good. It's good to know. Well, we appreciate what you're doing and appreciate the radio station having us on every month. It's a very exciting time with our chamber. We're welcoming some new businesses. American Community Bank and Trust is coming to us. CMIT Solutions has come in. We have a new limousine service in Elgin, which is good because, we all want to get to that airport in a short period of time, and sometimes this is a great alternative. So we welcome Discreet Limousine, Illinois, Opti People Resources, and State Street Market Shop. We all know State Street Market Shop on Route 31. We've all been there. It's a wonderful organization, and we're so glad that they're on board with our chamber. Looking forward to doing some special events with them in the coming year. So thanks for signing on and staying active in our community organization. Of course, we have chamber anniversaries. A lot of our records were destroyed. I'm sure, Michelle, you can see that as property manager under your title, but with some of the moves of our offices, some of that material went into dumpsters, and so we don't really have material going back to when we were founded in 1907, but we certainly do want to celebrate some of the members that have been with us for a long period of time, and you'll know these names. Hoffer Plastics Corporation down in South Elgin, the Hoffer family, the third generation of ownership within that company. We're so grateful for their continued relationship. Ralph Helm Incorporated, we all, I think, know where they are, located on the west side of town, and probably have bought a lawnmower. Or Tony, Tony even bought a lawnmower.
My stuff serviced there all
Yep,
the time.
we get our lawnmower service there too, and a lot of landscape and snow removal equipment. So it's just a delight that Mike is there and has been supportive of us. And then Laird Funeral Home on Route 31. The Laird family, of course, have been with us as for a long period of time as well, since their inception here in Elgin. So we should appreciate Rob Laird and all the Laird family and their support that they've given our chamber over the years. It is just a joy to be able to talk about this community, the greater Elgin area, and what is happening in Elgin. Tony, you are just ready to mail out many, many copies of our new trend report, which we're calling Data at a Glance.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think this is our third rendition of
it
this.
Is, yeah.
The Chamber and the Elgin Development Group put together this beautiful brochure of information about the community. We are distributing it to over 1,000 companies, brokerage firms, developers throughout the Elgin and the Chicagoland area in hopes of informing them about how great this community is. And there are a lot of things going on here. We try to put it all in one book. We update it, trying to do it annually. Information about things like the workforce, the educational system, the healthcare system, the quality of life that we have that's unsurpassed here in Elgin, and all the good things within the community. And so if you need a copy, contact us. We can give you a copy. We are also going to be putting these out like we do at the Gale Borden Public Library, at the City of Elgin, and other places. So if you see one, grab one. If you think that something should be included or some information should be updated, give us a call. We'll be more than happy to include it in our next rendition. But it's a tool for to kind of talk about Elgin and the community and all the great things that are happening here. And the Chamber of Commerce and the Elgin Development Group and Terry Gajewski in our office has done a great job putting this informational piece together.
Yeah, and we really we started this a few years ago, Tony, because sometimes we feel that our own residents, our own businesses just don't have the knowledge of what this community is all about. And so we put the statistical information together, the demographic information, to show that this is information about education, about arts, about public services, about the business community, about education, about workforce.
Yeah, and the information comes from a number of different sources. You could look at data until you're blue in the face, and you could maybe, say, well, that's not right. But, there's so much information out there. The source that you use, just stick with it. And that source, like, for instance, the Illinois Department of Employment Security, we get a lot of information from them, and we stick to that. So there's a lot of good information in here. People call us all the time looking for a little bit of, to learn a little bit about the community. And we distribute this in hopes that more people will know all of the different aspects of the community, because there is no other booklet other than this that kind of talks about the whole community. So,
Well, and we appreciate the opportunity to share this information. I think, Matt, you're disseminating information all of the time through the radio broadcast, and Michelle, certainly you're doing that through your own organization, and we are doing that as well too. So this is kind of a resource where you can go and you can find out information on our median household incomes and how we are compared to the state of Illinois and to the United States, how we're higher than all of those, and our bond rating and the municipal services. And so it's a great resource for folks to have along the way, and certainly would welcome the opportunity to share more of that information as we go through it. But thanks to Tony and Terry and our team, Margarita, for their assistance, to Kim Gilmore with her Gilmore marketing firm in helping us put this together. So we're really pleased to be able to come out with this fresh off of the print last week, and we'll be getting it out. So as we were talking about local businesses, Michelle, certainly your agency, you have how many employees within your agency?
About 40.
And a budget of what?
2.3 million,
I don't think
2.7 million.
Yeah, people just don't understand that, the significance of not-for-profit like that. That is a huge budget for a not-for-profit, a small not-for-profit in our community. Matt, I'm sure that probably took you by surprise as well. Almost a $3 million organization operating at the corner of Wing and Route 31, and been doing so for over 50 years. Just quietly, like anything, if you don't need services, you don't necessarily know what those services are. So you have WIC and you have SNAP, and you're doing education and counseling and helping with benefits. Just a wide variety of programs. How are you, with your expertise, how has this organization changed in the last few years under your direction?
I think we've really transitioned from being an organization that only provides direct services to families in the community or individuals in the community to an organization that takes a much more holistic approach, or a much more holistic perspective about health in general and health and wellness in general. So while as we used to be sort of a brick and mortar pediatric dental clinic that we own and operate through Well Child Center, now we have what I refer to as an overall oral health, public health program. And we've done a lot with that. And just a fun fact to piggyback on a couple of other things that are being discussed this morning, I actually use the Data at a Glance book that's developed by the Elgin Development Gourp when I'm writing grant proposals, because there is good, relevant statistical information that can help strengthen proposals. And knowing that it comes from a reliable source is always helpful to me, because I know I don't have to dig around and verify or validate the data that's included. So that was one thing. I also really appreciate the businesses that you mentioned that are having the anniversaries, because we have partnerships with them as well. In June, Ralph Helm sponsored a donation drive for us for Well Child Center that was a pasta palooza, and they collected all kinds of pasta products, sauces, noodles, and everything that we're able to distribute now to families in the community through Well Child Center. Another business in the community that I know is involved with the chamber quite a bit, that is so generous to Well Child Center's program participants, is RG Asphalt and Concrete. And they are going to be sponsoring a donation drive for baby food and toddler food in September. And then last but not least, the Hoffer Family Foundation, though. So they support a very large number of dental clinic visits for kids who live in Elgin and South Elgin specifically, who don't have any form of dental insurance. So they don't have Medicaid, public dental insurance, and they don't have private dental insurance. And so we're able to get those kids into our clinic and provide them dental care free of charge with the support of the Hoffer Family Foundation. So again, it's all related, it's all connected, and that's one of the best things about Elgin.
It is
that we do work together.
I think that's very true. Lori from RG Asphalt and Concrete, I mean, it was just she came in and they became members. We started talking, and they do blacktopping all over this entire Chicagoland area, concrete as well, and many projects. And it's just in the midst of conversation when they're saying, we'd like to help. How can we help? And I said, well, here's an organization that you might be interested in. And Lori just took it and ran with it. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful. And we see that in this community, which is a little bit different, Tony.
We have businesses contacting us wanting to know how they can get involved. They obviously are trying to get their employees more active in the community. And we see that every day. And like you mentioned, this community works very well together from the top down and the bottom up. We're trying to make sure that everybody is informed about what's available out there, and if they can connect, the chamber does a great job of, Carol does a great job of connecting people. And that's one of the benefits of being involved with the Chamber of Commerce, is that no other place in the community can you go and get, meet a lot of people in one place. Those kinds of things just don't exist out there. And so if you're thinking about joining the Chamber, it's a no-brainer. Join.
Oh, we appreciate that. I was just thinking of programs that we have. We have some ribbon cuttings coming up. We were just at La Michoacana down in South Elgin, La Michoacana Extreme, a brand new dessert restaurant in South Elgin that opened a couple of weeks ago. And these stories are so wonderful, Tony. The businesses and community, over 5,000 businesses between Elgin and South Elgin. This is a family-owned business. This has been a dream of this family to be able to take what was her cake decorating, cake making, and dessert making business from her home into a new store. So they've made that jump to retail, to bricks and mortar, which we see very often, don't we, Tony?
It takes time, and it takes a lot of persistence, but we see people who are motivated and focused opening up businesses, and it's tough to do that. It's a lot of energy, but once they get going, we've seen a lot of successful family businesses in the community.
Yeah, it's really a wonderful place to be, and I'm sure many communities are that way too. But knowing that Tony's available as a business concierge, he can take a business who's thinking of maybe opening something all the way to fruition and grand opening and help them along the way. And that's the value of the services that Tony can provide that are through Elgin Development Group and through our Elgin Area Chamber, to make sure that businesses are strong and can stay supported here in this community and work in the economy that we currently have. So, Michelle, let's go back to your dental clinic, because that really is just an incredible program. Can you talk a little bit more about that, please?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, we are sort of this best-kept secret hidden in the Well Child Center building here in Elgin, but we do have a very, very robust pediatric dental clinic that we own and operate. We see about 2,700 children, ages 1 through 18 annually, and that adds up to about 5,200 patient visits a year. So we see kids for preventive care and also for restorative care or treatment. And we offer the full array of services for dental care for children and families in the community. We only accept Medicaid as a form of insurance payment in our clinic, and we have a very, very modest sliding scale fee for cash patients. So I always try to mention our dental clinic because we do specialize in pediatrics, and there's not a lot of that going around, especially for families who have Medicaid for their insurance. Through our clinic, we have 2 dentists that are more on the full-time side, and then we have 1 board-certified pediatric dentist who's with us 2 times a month. She specializes in seeing children with special health care needs, and there is a great need for that in our community. Whether you have Medicaid for insurance or private insurance or no insurance at all, there are not a lot of pediatric dentists in the area that do have expertise in caring for children with special needs. So our doors are always open for that patient population.
And is that phone number the same phone number at your agency?
It is not. It is you can call our regular Well Child Center phone number, but we do have a special phone number for the dental clinic. So in that regard, as I mentioned, we've expanded the services and the programming that we offer related to pediatric oral health. One of the most exciting things that we've been working on over the past year is a project called Brighter Smiles, Brighter Community. Whenever you work in the oral health field, all of your programs have to have smile in the title. It's very important and it's catchy. So through that project, we've established in Elgin and in U46 a coalition of organizations and community partners who basically agreed at the outset of the program to work together to improve the oral health care of children in U46 school district. And so we know that that's really a big priority. When we started looking at the data, about 37% of U46 students have the required dental exam before the start of the first day of each school year. That's very, very low, and it's not for the lack of trying. It's a requirement in the state of Illinois, but because it's such a huge requirement, it's often not enforced by not just U46, but all school districts. So we're working to change that. So any families, grandparents, parents, guardians out there who have children who will be entering kindergarten, second grade, sixth grade, or ninth grade in the U46 school district, we really, really, really encourage you to get that dental appointment in before the start of the school year. And not only get that dental appointment in, but get the form in to your school. So, any dental practice can print out that form for you and complete it as part of the visit. We do that at Well Child Center. One thing, again, that we like to emphasize is that any families with Medicaid as a form of insurance, we would welcome you to come to our practice to get those school exams done. But one of the other things that we developed as part of the Brighter Smiles, Brighter Community grant project was a list of all of the dental providers in the U46 catchment area that do accept Medicaid. So we are not trying to increase business for Well Child Center, although we would love to have your children as patients, but we want to make sure that any families with Medicaid have an opportunity to visit a dental practice that's convenient for them. We also have this list of local dentists who accept Medicaid, and we also coded it with those that speak Spanish as well. That's available on the homepage of our website, which is wellchildcenter.org. And if you scroll down, it's on the left side of that page. Sort of a little known fact, there are about 8,000 dentists in the state of Illinois. Only about 1,300 of them accept Medicaid. And so there really is a need. And those that do accept Medicaid are usually pretty busy and pretty full. So schedule your appointments early, get those exams done before if you can't get it done before the first day of school in U46, definitely before Labor Day or right around Labor Day. We open up extra appointments at Well Child Center during this time just to make sure that we can get in as many kids as possible. So I definitely wanted to mention that as well. One other resource, this is sort of random, that we developed based on this coalition that we put together for Brighter Smiles, Brighter Community, is a fact sheet in English and Spanish about how harmful the use of tobacco products, including cigarettes, vaping, and those types of things, can be on an adolescent's oral health. That's also available on our website. And again, it's in English and Spanish. We've been trying to hand that out to families, but also to adolescents themselves so that they become more aware of how detrimental the use of these products can be on their overall oral health and very much on their physical health overall, but definitely we focus on the oral health aspect of that.
Michelle, can you talk about the evolution of this program with your public policy background? Is that how this program came to be?
It is. So this is a project that's funded by a national foundation, the CareQuest Institute, and they offered a request for funding or a request for proposals opportunity that I saw was available, and I decided to go for it. It was focused on school-based oral health services. The difference about this grant is that it wasn't at all about providing dental care to school-age students. It was about creating systems within communities that can impact overall oral health. So for me, I had just started working on a program in our organization where we do community-based dental clinics. In fact, we did one last week at the YWCA and saw about 30 kids in a day. And we have one tomorrow at the South Elgin Boys and Girls Clubhouse where we're seeing almost 30 kids as well. So we have this community-based program, but this grant, they made very clear in the request for proposals that they would not fund any direct services, that it was more about systems building. And that's what my background is all about. And that's what public health is all about. So again, the idea behind it was to develop this coalition of private and public partners in School District U46 and to kind of take it from there. I had worked with the health supervisor in U46 in the past, but hadn't made a lot of inroads in oral health. And so this provided an opportunity to work with another individual in the district who embraced this project fully. And we've really, really done a lot with her specifically, but also will continue to work with the district on oral health. And we hope to sustain the coalition going forward as well, because we've done a lot together.
And what will it take to sustain that coalition?
Well, sadly, a little bit of additional funding right now.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate to have hired a project management consultant who's the behind the scenes person making everything happen. If we don't receive additional funding from CareQuest or other sources for this, then one of my community dental health coordinators that's on staff, fully funded by Well Child Center reserve funding or operational funding, will likely have to take on the project management responsibilities to keep the coalition going.
So, Matt, are you noticing the little bits and pieces that have to be put together in order for programs to be successful?
Oh, yes.
Initiatives?
There's a lot that goes into it, but it's totally worth it for what you're doing. So.
Absolutely. And hopefully I'll have a chance this morning to talk about Project Smile
Please
as well.
do.
So Project Smile is something that it's another grant that we applied for through the Illinois Children's Healthcare Foundation. That foundation has a specific focus on oral health and mental health, and they fund projects throughout the state of Illinois that really do support the most vulnerable populations, again, in those two topic areas. So they had a application opportunity to focus on the future oral health workforce. And they had a specific caveat that they wanted to increase diversity in the future oral health workforce. So we developed a pilot project that we implemented last fall with about 30 high school students from all three of the districts right around Elgin, including U46. We learned so much from that pilot project. One of the things that we learned the most from the pilot project was that the students themselves said the opportunity would have been much more rich and robust had they been in person for the whole pilot project. And so I reached out to my partner, Nancy Coleman, at the Alignment Collaborative for Education, who was a partner in the grant application initially, and said, hey, what if we roll this out as part of the Alignment's internship program this summer? And we make it a 60-hour intensive internship opportunities that's in person for students throughout the three districts that the Alignment works with on the program. And so she said, let's do it. And so she and her team interviewed students who applied specifically because they were interested in oral health career pathways. We selected 9 amazing young women to participate in the internship. We just finished it last week or the week prior. And the results of that are nothing short of amazing. So the students had an opportunity not only to learn about all of the career pathways in oral health, from being a dental assistant all the way to being an oral surgeon or an orthodontist or an endodontist, but they also had opportunities for shadowing experiences. Every single one of the interns shadowed in the area that they were interested in working in. So we had a couple shadow with dental hygiene, a couple shadow in pediatric dental clinics, several in Celebrating Smiles, Dr. Felicia Chu's practice here in Elgin, because they're interested in being general dentists. And we had one of our interns who is my big success story. She shadowed in an oral surgeon's practice here in Elgin, Dr. Waite's practice. And after her full day shadowing experience, Dr. Waite's office manager contacted me and said that they wanted to offer her a paid internship for the rest of the summer and on every school break that she comes home, because she's going to the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana in the fall.
30 seconds.
So again, another great success story for that project.
Well, and we've been fortunate too. We've had 2 interns from Alignment, so we're so appreciative of that program. Well, our time is up. Thanks to Michelle Esquivel, the Executive Director of Well Child Center, to Tony Lucenko, our Elgin Development Group Director, for this this program that just flew by. We don't have enough time, Matt.
I know.
So next time we'll see if we can't work on that a little bit. But thanks to our listeners. Again, contact us at the Elgin Area Chamber if you have any questions. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.